to do our read aloud today. It is on swamp life.
Swamp life. Swamps are filled with many insects, birds, and animals. How do animals in swamps survive? Welcome, swamp visitors, Ranger Rachel said as she gathered a group of students from Mr. Litton's second grade class around her. Are you ready to listen? Yes, everyone shouted. Ranger Rachel put a finger to her lips. Shh, she said. Let's listen. Danny listened. At first, he heard nothing. No honking cars, no people talking, no loud vehicles, or faraway booming music. I don't hear anything, he said. Ranger Rachel smiled. Now, let's listen again, she said. Danny listened again. Soon, he was hearing sounds. All kinds of sounds. The more he listened, the more sounds he heard. Buzzing, humming, swishing, clicking, croaking, chirping sounds. After a while, Ranger Rachel took her finger from her lips. Can anyone guess what you heard? She asked.
All right, so a key vocabulary word on this card or this slide up here is visitor. So a visitor goes to a place to stay for a little while. So I want you to think, have you ever visited a swamp?
Yes.
And if you have, I want you to think, what lives in a swamp? And what are some noises or sounds you might hear in a swamp? Because in this read aloud card, they talked about all the different sounds or noises. Libby. The frogs. And what sounds are they going to make? Kind of a croaking noise or like a rivet noise? Good. How about Lewis?
Crocodile.
Great. A crocodile. Maybe like if you're in Florida at a swamp.
A fish.
Or a fish. Fish, you're going to hear maybe like their lips or the bubbles coming from their oxygen. Okay, Brooklyn.
I see. Is this a crocodile?
It almost looks like a log with like a turtle sitting on it, but it does kind of look like a crocodile.
It is a log.
And then,
It's a log with a tail.
we have a swamp right on the campground over here. There's two, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And then there's birds. There's some ducks. There's some spiders.
Wow.
There's a beehive. And there's lots of frogs.
Lots of frogs. So ribbon and croaking.
See? There's an owl.
Oh, yep. And so the owls you probably would hear at night. Like,
And then
maybe.
there's a little tree about this big. There's a little tree about this big. And there's a bowl in it. And then that's what it is. And then there's a little wood nest in it.
Okay. All right, let's get somebody else. Good examples, Brooklyn. Addie, what do you hear at a swamp?
Been to a swamp. Like at Moose Swamp. And so as kids, like as we went to the same camping site. And it's actually kind of scary. I know.
At nighttime when you hear all the sounds?
Scary.
All right, like at nighttime when you hear all the sounds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a snapping turtle. There's
Yeah.
a snapping turtle. It's like this big. Yeah, it's about that big.
Okay, I'm going to take these last four people, then we're going to move on. Let's have Corla go next. Oh, Brooklyn. Okay, Corla, go one more time because I couldn't quite hear you.
My dad once, we went to a lake and we saw a bunch of turtles. We saw a pink turtle and we saw a snapping turtle.
Awesome, turtles.
I hold it in this.
Kinsley.
Jackson, he could go in the swamp, like not in it, but like he could go in because it wasn't that deep.
Yeah.
And because his tractor, that he can go in water, and me and my cousin saved the turtle, and it was like that good. Oh yeah,
Okay, Elias. Elias.
a bird.
A bird. You hear probably lots of chirping. And the last one is Carson on this one. Carson.
Charlotte and Carson.
A little fish. It kind of looks like a shark, but I think it's just maybe a fish pin.
It's a fish, right?
But you're right.
I know.
Okay, let's go on to the next card.
heard a bird singing, Kim said.
Oh.
I'll get you.
I may have heard a frog croak, Danny said, but I'm not sure. I heard an insect buzzing, Pedro said. Dragonflies buzz, Ranger Rachel told him. Do you think it was a dragonfly? I'm not sure, Pedro said. Ranger Rachel pointed toward the water. Look, there's a dragonfly zooming up from the water. Careful, dragonfly. It must sense danger. Dragonflies buzz when they rub their wings together. Is that what you heard? Just then, the dragonfly zoomed past Pedro. Yes, Pedro cried. I heard the dragonfly buzz. Spring is here, Ranger Rachel said. The swamp is waking up after a long, cold winter. Snakes, fish, lizards, turtles, and beavers are coming out of their winter hiding places. Blackbirds, swamp sparrows, and other birds are stopping by as they fly north. The birds are visitors, just like we are. They will find plenty of food to eat and water to drink in the swamp.
So all these animals are starting to come back. So that is one way animals survive, is in the wintertime, some of them need to go to sleep and hibernate. Some of them, like the birds, they might fly south and migrate to go where it's warmer, and then they might come back in the springtime. John, did you have something you want to share really quickly?
My cousin found a turtle. He put it in my creek, and
Yeah.
it has been in my creek until like before school started.
Really? It's been in your creek? That is really
And I'm
cool.
kind of worried about it.
You're kind of worried about him?
And I found a cave.
That he'll survive for the winter time? Are you worried about him surviving, or what are you worried about?
I'm worried about the
The
coldness.
coldness. So hopefully he'll dig himself down underneath and bury into
Cause
a hole.
it's like a colorful turtle.
A colorful. Cool. Okay, let's see. I think I've got everybody. Okay, I'm gonna have Brooklyn share one thing really quickly, and then I'll get you guys later. Okay.
Well, my grandma's house, he has like a creek, and like it's like there's like a really small creek, and in his backyard, like we hike all the time.
Yeah.
Well, there was something in the water, and we didn't know what it was, and we saw a really big turtle.
Did you?
And then we found a hurt wolf, so we had to help it and bring it to the doctor because we don't know. And then my grandpa built a like a thing because he had a lot of wood because he built like some of the stuff for like he built a sheep pen and stuff and a goat pen. So he could build a really big one, like a door that can like a doggy door, he can go in and out.
Very cool. Okay, let's go into the third part.
Ranger Rachel pointed to a pile of twigs and logs and grass and mud in the middle of the swamp. Can anyone guess what that is? She asked. Did a beaver build it? Tico asked. Right, that's a beaver's home. It's called a lodge. Swamps are perfect for beavers. There are trees and branches to chomp with their sharp teeth and use to build their homes. There's water to drink and swim in, and plants and tree bark to eat. I didn't hear any busy beavers building and chomping, Danny said. Beavers come out at night, Ranger Rachel explained. They are nocturnal animals, like owls and raccoons, and some frogs. They are all asleep now because it is daytime. I'm wondering, Danny said. Yes, Danny? Ranger Rachel said. Well, people need to eat, so I guess animals in the swamp do too. So I'm wondering where they get their food. Creatures that live in or near the swamp have plenty to eat and lots of water to drink. That's one reason they live here. Can anyone guess what they eat?
So they use the word reason. So one reason they live here is because there's plenty to eat and lots of water. So reason means that something happens and that's why it happens, okay? Now, they also talked about the beavers come out at night. Who remembers the word they said? If an animal comes out at night, they are what? Who remembers that word? Eli?
Nocturnal.
Nocturnal. So that's another way that animals survive is they're nocturnal. They come out at nighttime when there's not a lot of predators or danger, and then they sleep during the day. And some animals in the desert do that because it gets to be too hot during the day, so they come out at night when it's cool. And we're going to learn that tomorrow in our story also. Ellie, yes?
I know that bats, they don't go outside in the daytime because there's birds that eat the same thing as they eat, and they want to have it all to themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So they're kind of fighting for their food, right? So they have to be smart and come out when there's not a lot of predators and not a lot of people hunting for the same food. Okay, our next card, our last card.
Birds eat berries and seeds, Millie said. That's right, Ranger Rachel said. Some birds also eat worms, insects, and other bugs. What do dragonflies eat? Pedro asked. Ranger Rachel smiled. Dragonflies eat insects and mosquitoes. There are lots of those here. There's plenty of food and water here for everyone. There are plants for the tadpoles. There are seeds, berries, and worms for the birds. Frogs use their long, sticky tongues to capture insects for dinner. The animals all depend on each other to survive in the swamp. Let's listen to the sounds and guess the animals that make them. Chirp, chirp, tweet. I hear a bird, said Tico. Rustle, rustle. That must be a squirrel moving in the bushes, said Danny. Buzz. That's a mosquito, said Millie as she swatted around her head. Everyone laughed. Then the class closed their eyes. They listened to all the humming, buzzing, chirping, singing, swishing, hissing sounds, like a lovely swamp chorus, singing together.
At the end, they say a swamp chorus. Now, a chorus is a group that sings or dances together, but in this case, at a swamp at nighttime, you would hear all the sounds of all the animals if you're very quiet. And sometimes, Addie said, sometimes even scary because you hear all these sounds. It's like a chorus, it's like a group of them singing. Now, another word they used was capture. And so the frogs use their long, sticky tongues to capture insects for dinner. So if you're capturing something, you force to get it or catch it. Okay? Louis, you wanted to share something really quickly? On another card? Was it this one?
What is that thing?
I think it's supposed to be a squirrel.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's a squirrel.
It doesn't look like one.
What do you think it's supposed to be?
When did you get
I think
here?
it's like a rat.
It kind of does look like that.
It's a
But
raccoon.
I think it could be,
Raccoon.
It's
It's
kind of hard. It's kind of hard to tell on that one. Okay, Kinsley and then Addie, and then we're gonna move on.
At nighttime, because when we're down there, we're going on a go-kart ride. That's why it scares them.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And in the morning, we get in the daytime, we get a stand so I can see baby stuff in the.
Very cool. Okay, Addie, last thing.
I could do some.
Okay, really quickly because we have to move on.